Thank you, Sam. Sam and I are publishers, and we're feeling extra good today because today,
October 29th, 1886,
we just published Volume 1, Number 1.
I wrote about our brand new little city, our future great. The article began this way. Horton, the prodigy of the West, the wonder of Kansas, the most remarkably developed city, west of the Missouri River. 1 month ago, an uninhabited stretch of meadowlands and cornfields of 300 inhabitants.
Have made a better country than that which surrounds Horton. But doubtless, he never did. The growth of this town has been phenomenal. Why, it's only been 4 short weeks since the first lot was sold in the city and the work of building begun. As if by magic, the cornfields have suddenly been converted into a bustling young city, reminding one of some old fairy tale. Those weak-kneed brothers who've taken every opportunity to cry down and discourage the young city will find food for thought in our business review published elsewhere. To them we would say, read, ponder, and turn from the errors of your ways. Go sin no more.
I'm W.H. Hoffman, one of 9 contractors here in Horton. Business is fine for all of us 9. Well, you wouldn't believe how much business we got. All 9 of us are having trouble finding carpenters to do all the building. Hiawatha, Muskota, Kennecook, all over.
Hi there, I'm Mrs. Camel. I deals with reasonable prices. Dinner is 25 cents. And my husband,
Yeah, we get good food, me and the kids. I'm Joe Campbell. I own and operate the city gray line. If you want anything moved, anywhere, just call on me. Seems like most people are moving in. No one's moved out yet.
I'm W.M. Parker. Some people don't think so, but I'm really an artist too. House painting, signs, carriage painting, paper, stonework, plastering, grading, and calcimony. Builders and architects with drawings and all the specs, trowel, mortar, building blues that always draw. Adding gingerbread where wanted, curlicues and fancy shingles. Lots of paint in brilliant colors. It's a sign that gives us tingle. We work all day from dawn to dusk. We hardly stop doing our stuff. We're building Horton house by house. From the ground.
Land is selling rapidly, and not cheap either. There's a 200-acre farm for sale, $27.50 an acre. Well, that's what happens. Inflation. And residential lots are selling for $150 for a corner or $125 for an inside lot. And they're measly. But Sam and I, we're in real estate too, you know. You have to keep up with the crowd.
Well, what do you know? Thanksgiving already 1886, and there are over 800 people living in Horton already. The first death in Horton just occurred. A young man named Lothar. We don't have a cemetery yet, so he was buried in Iowa.
And now in December, stay with us, folks. You've never seen time move so fast. The As I was saying, it's December 1886, and already we have 4 doctors in Horton. That's right, 4 MDs.
Quack, 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 quack.
Well, now, here it is, getting toward the end of January 1887, and Horton has officially received its status as a city.
So, of course, we're holding our first election. Just think, Horton's only 5 months old, and already we're electing our first mayor, police judge, and councilman. Goulden's the mayor's name, Sam Goulden.
One of the bank's founders and directors. His name is Lowe.
Oh, if anything happened to Mr. Krebs, the bank's cashier.
Mr. Krebs, as cashier of the Bank of Horton, can you cash a check for me?
Of course I can, Mr. Sprague. Why, you and Bradley, your partner in the drugstore, are good customers of ours.
Oh, this isn't a personal check. This is a check I received in payment for 2 gallons of house paint.
How much is it for?
$5. Police Judge Flynn signed it.
No problem. Where is it?
Right here.
Is this a joke? This is nothing but a piece of wood. Now you may think us strange and think us fickle, but the Bank of Horton won't take a wooden nickel. We have a rule that lays it on the line. You keep your wooden nickels and it's along fine.
Now you may a nickel, I've got a wooden check. If you don't have a rule against that, so either take my wooden check or blow it out your hand.
I've never seen a check that's made of wood. There may be such a thing, but it can't be any good.
This check is clear, it's not at all fake. It says, paid to the order of Walter's Parade.
Now listen, this is lap-siding off a house.
It's legal tender.
Don't grumble and grouse.
If you would read it over carefully,
You'll find a legal instrument.
pay 'em all to me.
I think you're right, Mr. Sprague. I'll cash it now. A real wooden check. Holy cow!
Take your 5 and punch it right into the wood so that no one can monkey with it.
Well, that was the police judge. What'd you expect? Listen, hear those firecrackers? It's the 4th of July. Hooray!
Horton's first 4th. Hooray!
Judge Horton is here to make a speech. And you know, and here's a baseball game between Hiawatha and Horton. You know who's winning, don't you?
Oh, don't tell me.
Horton, of course.
We are? Look, Sam, it's a birthday party. Now on September the 20th, our very first birthday party.
Oh, what? Don't get sentimental. Just because Horton is 1 year old. Oh, 1 year old. Happy birthday, Horton.
Allow me to join my journalistic brothers in wishing Horton a happy first birthday. And hello to you all. I'm Private Medical. And my news, and the first issue, Volume 1, Number 1, is dated September 27, 1887. But the time right now is 1896, and Horton just had its 10th birthday, and it was a big party. A balloon ascension and a baseball game and a band concert and a political debate and an evening with fireworks. It was a real affair. Sorry, you missed it. But you know, we're different than the headlight. We're Democrats. And the commercial has more than political news. There's local news, advertising by Horton merchants, neighboring community news. Why, there's even ladies' fashion. And speaking of ladies' fashion, here it is 1897. and you wouldn't believe how sophisticated the Horton ladies have become about clothes and about hats and about hairdos. Here, let me introduce you. May I interrupt for a moment? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present Miss Lulu Stanley and Miss Angela McCumber. These fashionable young ladies are partners in their own shop. And Miss Stanley recently returned from a trip back east.
And she hasn't recovered from it yet.
Tell us about it, Lulu.
Well, hello. I make hats. All the men say my hats are beautiful, particularly when I'm wearing them. I made this one. Oh, Angela helped just a teensy bit. But as you know, there's nothing to making a hat. It's designing them that takes. So much of what it takes. Did you hear that? I'm the one who designed that hat. I'm the one who sewed it together. I'm going to tear that hat right off her empty, conniving little head. The little beast. Yes, you see, Mr. McManigal, I use divine inspiration. I mean, there you are, and you've got these mountains saying all in a great clutter. Angela will not keep the shop straight, but I don't let trifles bother me. I use divine inspiration. I dream of hats that make a woman filled with expectation.
Only as funny as you using an Associated Press dispatch to claim that editorial, Clyde.
Although Lucian and I have never discussed this, actually, we have agreed to disagree.
Let me interrupt. Don't be telling our trade secrets. Yes, we do feud in print and in fun private, but Clyde, really, that should be a secret. Ladies and gentlemen, 1899, Horton is about to enter the 20th century. And with a number of great advantages, to get us started, remember, Horton sold its first lot September 20th, 1886.
And we have the largest railroad car shops in the West, completed October 27, 1887.
Horton became a second-class city in September 10, 1887, just 10 days before our first birthday.
And we built our own electric plant, and the city became illuminated the night of July 1st, 1888.
We have 4 schools employing 18 teachers.
And we have 7 churches, all the leading denominations.
We have a complete telephone system.
And we have 4,000 citizens, and we wouldn't be here. If it weren't for the Rock Island Railroad, or as they call it, the Chicago, Kansas, and Nebraska line. The city.
Enough progressive systems. Let's get back to where the action is. People of Horton.
And I'd like to have you meet 2 of them right now. They're not the most popular ladies in town, but they are entertaining. Here they are.
Well, I don't know what the world's coming to. I declare, do you take the high on the world? No. Well, I don't take it myself, but a friend of mine does, and she told her, and my friend told me that this Hiawatha woman went into the World newspaper office and wanted to know how much a dozen wedding invitations would cost. Well, he noticed a ring on her finger, and she asked if they were for a relative. And you know what she said? No. She said, no, they're for me. I'm getting a divorce, and I just wanted to know how much they cost. And then, you know what she said? No. It just beats all. Oh, I just can't bear to repeat it.
Well, try really.
Going to marry was going to pay for the divorce and the invitation. Now, don't that beat all?
Oh, you think that's something. Just wait till I tell you about it.
No, not him.
Wait till you hear. Have you seen him recently? I mean, like yesterday?
No, why?
Well, I haven't seen him either, but Lucy told me, and Judy told her, and Judy's husband told her. And there's a workman fella down in the shops, and he told Judy's husband. Now, how he found out about it, I don't know. But when you run into, you know who, you'll notice he's wearing his collar turned way up.
Well,
He's covering up a cut on his neck.
no. How did he get it?
He jumped through a window. It was just night before last. It was the only way to escape.
Whose window was it? Whose window was it?
Don't you wish you knew?
You tell me right now. Who was it? Who was it? Tell me who it was.
I don't know.
Okay, Lucian, is that last bit really true?
It certainly is. Who was it? Horton businessman. Name.
That's what's nice about living in a small town. You can know everything about everybody, and you never have to draw the name. Lucian, since we're on the subject of Horton society, and since we both print items about the comings and goings of the local citizens, maybe it would be wise for us to ask the opinion of an outsider of those Miss Maggie Hamilton. Of the week would be ideal. She's been visiting in Horton.
Let's by all means hear what she has to say.
Miss Hamilton? Oh, there you are. I am pleased to introduce Miss Maggie Hamilton. She will give
Hello. I'm Bert Howard, the new manager at the Horton headline. I took over from Lucian Smith. You call it editor, I call it manager. Horton's all right, but I'm going back to Lawton, Oklahoma. I've done everything I can to make the Horton businessmen better. I've put in the paper where each one goes wrong, publicly pointed out their errors, but they don't appreciate it. I don't understand. The new Opera House is really buzzing. New shows in all the time. All kinds of shows, drama, comedy, and the prices are still the same as when the theater opened some years ago. 15, 25, 35 cents. I don't know where the paper would have been without patent medicine. Next to the Horton businessman, patent medicine is the best kind of advertising I know of.
Victory!
Horton had a 3-day celebration when he left town.
The reason we're so happy today is we just merged our paper with the headline.
We had called our paper The Leader. The leader for the reader who wants to get ahead. We merged with the headline.
We thought of a slogan,
Follow the leader.
with the bright headlight, but our employees threatened to quit if we printed that slogan.
So we backed off.
Today we have only one competing newspaper.
The Commercial and its outspoken editor, Clyde McManigal.
But even if we were cheated out of our slogan,
We did come up with some real ginger to add to the paper.
when we got their social notes from towns and areas around us,
We gave the columns very zippy names like Kennicott Colonel,
Powhatan Pointer,
Germantown Crisp,
Mission Center Common,
Whiting Items,
Everest Events,
Muscota Buttering,
Brush Creek Budget,
Walnut Warblings,
and Clear Crypt Crap.
in 1909 we quit. And our latest editor of the Horton Headlight was taken by a born fighter, a man with a military bent, Charles H. Brown.
Hello to all of you. I'm Charles H. Brown, and I'm the editor of the Horton Headlight. I was editor for 42 years. Saw Horton go through some pretty good times and some pretty bad times. You'll hear a little about it. I want you to hear about the silver anniversary, September 20th, 1911. The president of the celebration committee was a prominent and long-time merchant whose name you will recognize, Mr. Hale.
I don't think any committee ever worked so hard on a 2-day celebration as we did. And we had some splendid events. A big parade, floats, Brotherhood Lodge won first prize. They had real chrysanthemums shipped in from Los Angeles. It was mighty pretty. Stock and agriculture show, balloon ascensions, a parachute leap each day, entertainer, an army band, and a baseball game scheduled for every day. And you know what happened. On September the 20th of 1911, Horton had one of its heaviest and most torrential rainfalls in its entire 25-year history. Our silver anniversary was almost entirely rained out.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. And now I'd like you all to meet my cohort at the Headlight, Wes McManigal.
Hello, friends.
Wes got involved, as we all did, in the war. And this one started in Europe in July of 1914, the very summer that we were having a big Chautauqua here in town.
And now, 1917, the USA is in the war too. They call it the World War.
Horton boys fought, bled, and died over there. The 26 were from Company B, recruited here in Horton. There were 14 from Horton, 6 from Muscota, and 1 each from Effingham, Powhatan, Arrington, Everest, Mayetta, and Robinson. Horton's American Legion post was named after the first young Horton man to have lost his life, Arthur Norton Weir. Let's pause for a moment to honor their memory.
On November 11, 1918, we celebrate the armistice by hanging the Kaiser in effigy and having an impromptu parade which looks like a carnival.
And now, 22. The Headlight has the first radio receiver in Horton. We get weather news on it, and we prick all we get. We also have a real radio enthusiast, a man who calls himself A. Nutt, spelled K-N-U-T-T. I'd like to have you meet him. Mr. Nutt.
Hello, everybody. This is your old pal of the airwaves, bringing you one song hit after another. But first, I had little Jack Little write a song especially for me. It's about this new sensation that's sweeping the country. We call it radio. Maestro, if you're ready, please. rips on the old airwaves. Twist all the dials, turn that coil. It's exciting as looking at a Rembrandt oil. It's radio, 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 oh,
July the 1st, 1922. July the 21st, 3 weeks later.
21 months, 21 months.
we fought a bloody war to make the world safe for democracy. Now we fight a bloodless war in defense of our homes, in defense of our loved ones, in defense against organized capital.
October the 12th, 14 weeks later.
Scab! Scab!
21 months of hatred
I'm the management operator for the headlights. Believe me, I know all the things.
The strike left bitterness, but the arrival of new workers working in Horton helped to soften bitterness. Most of the strikers left town to find other work, moving their families with them.
Oddly enough, the strike proved to be economically beneficial to one at the lowest by the time the strike was over.
March, the 20s were exciting years for Horton. Lots of things happened, like the crossword puzzle.
We created Horton's first crossword puzzle in October 1924.
In March of 1924, the Presbyterian Church burned. Speaking of churches, Marsh, when did your church start?
Well, sir, I was Methodist. We started in 1902. And we purchased the church on West Street. The missionary Baptist was over. In 1888, they built the church on East 60. And then 30 years later, in 1918, they built the Catholic church. You see that black building there now on the 7th Avenue East Street. But the strike was on the church.
In 1925, Horton finally got a public library. It took almost 40 years. Also that year, Horton experienced real togetherness for the first time. It was when the spillway into the dam gave out. About 1,500 men working day and night saved the dam itself. They were Horton's heroes. Yes, 1925 was quite a year.
1925, we started receiving pictures by radio. Imagine that. Pictures by radio. It's really an exciting time.
Speaking of pictures, have you talked to Schickelberger recently?
No. Why?
Well, he's got a lot to say, and I asked him to drop by. Oh, there you are. Folks, I'd like you to meet Billy Schickelberger, manager of the Liberty Theater. Billy, you're in a passage agent business. Tell us about it.
Glad to, Wes. I'm Art. Hi. Here it is, 1930, and motion pictures become one of the biggest industries in the U.S. Well, take women, for example. They don't go to the movies just to escape. They go to see the clothes. Dresses worn by Dolores Costello, Joan Crawford, B.B. Daniels, and Norma Shear. The whole world of fashion revolves around the way the stars dress.
What about the toy?
Frankly, I don't drink this, Martin. The sound so far has been pretty awful. They haven't got the bugs out yet. Right now, we're installing our third set of sound equipment. It costs a lot of money. But the Liberty has done well, and we have had a lot of stage shows, too. In fact, I brought a show with me. Would you like to see it?
Sure, bring it on.
Let's have it.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Glory be. Praise be. Did you ever? No, I never. What will they think of next? The movies talk, the movies dance, the movies wiggle, the movies prance. Some try to explain. The movies scream, the movies stop, the movies bang bang.
October the 29th, 1929. It's a bad day for the USA. Today, the entire American economy came apart at the seams. Burst. But not a word of this catastrophic event finds its way into our local paper. It seems to have adopted a policy of silence.
Don't print a word. Don't let them know. If we ignore it, it'll go away.
Well, we all read the bad news in the Atchison paper, the Topeka paper, the Kansas City paper. There's no need to reprint it. We all know what's going on. A great many of us do have radios, you know, and we listen. The paper doesn't have to make matters worse by printing what can happen in Horton. Half of Horton supported by the Rock Island.
Softly, softly, soften the blow. Don't tell them what they already know. Paint the future pretty and pink. Whistle in the dark so they don't have to think.
But wait! 1 whole year and 2 months later, the paper now prints an article admitting that the economy is bad, that there's a lot of unemployment, and to make matters worse, the crops are poor. Don't forget, Mrs. Bates, that the other half of Horton's economy is based on agriculture.
Admit the obvious before it's too late. Keep the readership like dangling bait.
Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. I think you're being terribly unfair. What's the paper supposed to do anyway? Print stories about how whole families are starving? I mean starving. There's no food to eat. You want to read about that? Well, maybe you're right. Maybe they should print all the negative news. But can anyone do anything about it?
Yes, and they are doing something about it. Certain teachers I know take their lunch to school, and they always make sure they've got sandwiches left. They pass them out to the kids who don't go home for lunch, because they already make lunch to go home to.
And what about Edith Borquin? She's been helping destitute people since 1909. Single-handed. Well, not quite. Some businessmen got together and formed a group called the Thick Fellows. But it was her doing. She started it. Still, it's not quite the same thing.
We look inside and hope to find a loving heart in each. But do we measure up to those who really practice what they preach?
You know the Rock Island shops are operating with a skeleton crew. And then occasionally, they hire back those with seniority and give them 10 days' work. It's called a temporary layoff.
Temporary layoff, temporary layoff. How many weeks is temporary? How many months? How many months? How many months? How many months?
Hope arrived now in 1931 in the form of oil conversion. My husband is a pipe fitter. He tells me instead of coal, they're going to burn oil. It's a big job to change a locomotive over from coal to oil. It means lots of work, but we don't know when it'll begin.
Burning oil instead of coal. Work and toil, good for the soul.
Horton's hopes are too high. There's only 3 months' work.
Oh, listen to this. We are proud to announce that beginning today, all haircuts will be cut to 30 cents.
2 years since the stock market crash. It's October 1931. The paper reports that the shops are working with a full force. Called a temporary lay-on, followed by a lay-off, followed by lay-on, and so on, and so on.
Let's go to the movies, let's go Wednesday night. The tickets are down to 20 cents, someday they'll run out of sight.
I read in the paper that the trend is upwards. Stocks and bonds are on their way up. Meanwhile, the American Legion in Horton is making a count of the
the unemployed. The results were never printed.
The unemployed, the Kansas Emergency Relief Program is hiring them, at least some of them here in town. The pay is $1 a day for grocery money. Well, look at the bright side. The headline says that $1 buys now 20% more than it did a year ago. But who's got $1?
January 28, 1932, we got sliced bread, we got sliced bread. The baker here at Horton got a different kind of machine. We got sliced bread, we got sliced bread. You put a loaf of bread there, it's all up and down. We got sliced bread, we got sliced bread. A ham and 45 bread, bacon home instead. We got sliced bread, we got sliced bread.
Now, February 1932, the paper tells us that the Rock Island is suffering from freight shipping. So, they blame the buses and the trucks. They also encourage all businessmen to ship by rail. Now, I ask you, what do Horton businessmen have to ship by rail? And they also quote an Ohio paper which calls the Depression a business slump.
Years got a little old slump, just a little old nuisance, just a little old bump. It just don't amount to very much at all. We tell all our friends there's a habit of all.
All you unemployed people, I want you to meet a man who was written up in the paper today, March 21, 1932. He worked for the Rock Island, helped lay track right through Horton back in 1886 and 87. His name is James H. Hyatt.
For 11 years, I shoveled coal and cinders at the coal chute for 9 cents an hour. I worked 10 or more hours a day for Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, and my paycheck every month amounted to $27.90. It may seem strange to hear this, but it was a fact. In those days, we were pretty well off, and we raised a family of 14 children.
The man was tough. We said enough.
You know what I hate was about not having any money?
No, what?
Those hand-dipped chocolates at Schrader's Candy Kitchen.
Do you remember those flat chocolate-covered coffees about the size of a stick of gum? Mrs. Schrader gave me one once when I was a kid. I bit into it, and it was cardboard. She laughed, and said, April Fool. That's when I learned about April 1st.
People who read signs, omens, read in today's paper, May 9, 1932, and knew what the future held. The paper noted that Rock Island had asked the Interstate Commerce Commission to approve a loan of $10 million. They needed the money to pay interest obligations, bank loans coming due, and equipment trust certificates.
Hello, I'm Dr. Baldwin, a veterinarian, mayor of Horton, elected just this April 1932. This is the year we elect FDR president and start the USA on the socialist path. But we're different from other socialist countries. We have a remarkable kind of soup. We have 7 varieties, and Horton got in on all 7 varieties. You omitted PWA, Public Works Administration. Very important.
Okay, guys, let's hear it for the PWA.
Right now, I would like to tell you about something that happened today, Tuesday, May 31st, 1932. 2 little boys who live on a farm near Whiting decided to seek their fortune. So, with their 2 dogs, they walked to Horton.
Hello, my name is Mr. Bachman, and this is my wife, Mrs. Bachman. This is Mr. Strickenfinger, a Horton barber, and this is John, a clerk at the Smith & Lindsay drugstore.
My husband and I run a cafe, and we had 2 visitors round noon today. Brothers 8 years old and 2 years younger, confessing sore feet and considerable hunger.
The older one said he paid by check. Well, we looked at each other and thought, what the heck?
They're sweet and gentle, so well behaved, charming. Really, you know, it's very disarming.
The older one wrote us a check, very well done. When they left, we said, have fun.
Strickenfinger is my name. Bring me your hair while our name. I give a haircut, you can block. I got it just the way you want. These 2 kids ride after lunch. They walk in. I had a hunch. And the older said, look there. And he got my little hunch. It'll cost you 30 cents, I said, to give that kid a decent head. The older said, I'll write a check. I thought to myself, well, what the heck? They were followed in by 2 old dogs, and while I worked, they slept right long. I worked real easy right along, but I kept thinking something.
and trim. The owner of the check when he was the dead, just as fashion agreed. They wandered out and dogs being on. Their Horton boots are really gone. So I knew the kids would be okay, but it was kind of funny, did it?
I work as Mr. Lynn, Peter of the store, selling Sunday books and sundries and lots more. I sell bus tickets for bus trips to lugging, bagging, baggage I'm never through. This very same day, these nice boys wandered in and looked around for nice toys. The older one stepped right up by neck. Tickets please, for I want I can pay by check. Now Smith and Lindsay listened and they heard C-A-T-C-K was the word. They guessed right away the whole blooming story, that the kids were out looking for fame and glory. When asked for his name, the other told Joe, Hiawatha is the place we want to go. And Robertson's a name of my old dad. Smith on white made the father very glad.
In 1937, Horton had 4 mayors. I'm the 4th. Frank Reedfield was elected in April of 1937, but he died in December that same year. So I was appointed to fill the vacancy. Today, April the 7th, 1938, another mayor was elected. So my temporary job is over. As of yet, I don't know who it is. Oh, Henry, it's you. Ladies and gentlemen, your new mayor, Henry Louie. Congratulations, Henry. And now I can get back to Honolulu.
You must be busy with all the federal projects going on.
Oh, things are really humming, Henry. Are you up on all of it?
Certainly am. Folks, Horton just got a new post office. We call it the Federal Building. And a brand new civic center. And through the PWA and the WPA, we're getting a new library, a new vocational agricultural building at Central High, and work's about to start on a new water tower.
That's right. You know, the WPA provides all the local labor, and the PWA provides some of the funding. The rest is voted on by the bonds voted by the people of Horton. You don't think Horton is really coming out of this equation with some positive and highly visible assets.
One of the amazing things about our economy, though, it doesn't take a lot of money to survive. I've asked some of the good ladies of Horton to stop by and explain. Oh, yes, don't believe everything you hear.
I simply don't know what to make of it all. In winter, in springtime, in summer and fall, the prices of groceries go up and go down. I'm just running and running all over town. I'm sleepless with worry, I can't make it meet. I shop for the bargains and wear out my feet. The prices of groceries
cents, such gall.
29 cents high, I paid 23.
They're stealing your keys, as you will soon see. 19 cents highest that I ever paid.
Where? Oh, where? Let's go on a raid! A special lost leader, I'll swear. They do it to lure you into their lair. And once you're in, they nail you real tight. 'Cause the prices around you are just out of sight. Oh, stretch me 13, cornmeal 24. That's pinned down to cornmeal, but a beacon tour. Sets flashes some file and pose some more. Expect a deep or six by swerve it once more. Filthy if men had to cook, we'd all of us get sadly hungry look. That's like the model you see in the sun, standing around with their hips all ajar.
And their rusty clogs is plain as day.
We're crying out, now take that woman away. I wasn't for cornmeal much. I serve it at breakfast, it's like a full brush. What time is it, please?
A quarter till
Round if we hurry, there's no standing in line. Oh, oh, oh. There's sugar, hamburger, bananas, and tea. Cake, flour, coffee, and macaroni. Raisins and cereal, salmon and pork. Beans, peas, and lettuce, stuffed on handled fork.
everybody popcorn pie and ice cream.
We're so sick of groceries.
Mayor, I want to go on record as one who doesn't believe women really carry on that. At least not Horton. And if it comes to a battle of sexes, there are some things that men are even worse about. You take the oil gossip that's been going on now for months. You can't pick up a copy of the headlines without being blasted by oil, oil, oil. It started in 1938 and is still going on now in May of 1939. So I've asked the man to stop by and give us his views. He's been a banker, and his name is Ralph Small. Allow me to introduce Ralph Small. Ralph, what's in back of the oil business?
Henry, I work for an oil company. Will you guarantee me that everything I say will be off the record and between the two of us?
Guaranteed, my word on it.
Well, I think it's wishful thinking. If there had been oil here, we would have found it 25 or 30 years ago. In El Dorado, it was 40 years ago, around 1900. Of course, you never know for sure until you put down a test well.
What do you do for the oil company?
Well, I buy the leases for them from farmers in the area. Wouldn't mind having a little black gold rolling out the back of 40.
Do you expect much out of this promotion that's going on?
Well, we are sitting on the edge of the Forest City Basin, and there's oil in it. The oil companies have known about it for some time, but they are only now getting around to looking. Well, I think Horton is looking for a substitute for those Rock Island shops. It's a mainstay industry, but I don't want to be negative. As far as I'm concerned, oil is out of the question.
It's very boring.
liquid money. It looks kind of funny 'cause it's black and runny, but it's black gold. They go deeper. Those diamond drills, 2,000 feet down. That big steel derrick like a skyscraper town. Scheming, everybody's dreaming of black gold liquid money. It looks kind of oozy, real Louisiana runny, but it's black gold. They drill their ashes and what did they get? A huge cloud of dust. It hasn't settled yet. They drilled their coral and found some stuff. But 40 barrels a day is not enough. Riches, give us riches. Dump up that oil up into the top. It smells like money. Don't ever let it stop. What's healthy? Being very wealthy on black gold liquid money. It smells kind of funny and looks kind of runny, but it's black gold. Whistle, with little whistle. Those diamonds in, get on the dry shell. The big tall derrick is not for sale. So it's dreaming, everybody's dreaming. No black gold liquid money. It looks kind of ugly and smells real funny. No black gold. Empty. It's so empty. Dreaming of oil, discussion, doing tape. Dreaming and laughing, all running to the bank. What's funny? No one's got the money. No black gold liquid money. It never really lingers, runs right through your fingers. That's black gold. They drill their money, and what happened there? Like Mother Hubbard's covered, it's strictly bad. It's empty dreams that Horton faces. Geologists were wrong about the Forest City Basin. Open, we keep open. The Rock Island Railroad's moving very fast. We need new business, the Horton can last. Don't trying, everybody's trying for real gold, real money. We want the solid stuff, nothing gray. We'll build a life that's really sporting. So let's all go to work and rebuild Horton.
Hello, I'm J.S. Henderson. I'm in my second term as mayor, and this is Commissioner of Utilities, Henry Jacobs. You know, it's a funny thing. From the moment the war started in Europe, even before Pearl Harbor, the headline began browbeating its readers in what seemed like an attempt to sell Horton on the war. Irate readers wrote in complaining, but their letters were never published, yet they were most unpleasantly answered on the paper's front page.
This continued throughout the war. You sometimes got the impression that the paper didn't have enough dead heroes to publicize.
Some people even accused the paper of warmongering. It was an unhappy situation.
On April 23, 1945, J.S. issued a proclamation outlining the way in which P.E. Day was to be celebrated.
Well, by April the 1st, 1945, it was apparent that we were about to win the war in Europe. That's why I issued the proclamation in advance to avoid another raucous celebration such as was held in World War I.
The proclamation requested that schools and businesses close for 1 hour so that people could go to church and give thanks. This happened both on D.E. and D.J. Day.
It was kind of a memorial service in honor of the 45 men of our area who died. I think it's fitting that we pause for a moment now in remembrance of those men. In January of 1946, I resigned, and I'd like you now to meet the man appointed to fill the vacancy, Merritt Henry.
Thank you, J.S. You're a tough man to follow.
Thank you, Merritt.
I filled out J.S. Henderson's term, and then I ran for mayor and was elected. I didn't run again in 1949. A great change took place in Horton while I was mayor. It concerned our Rock Island shops. In 1937, the railroad attempted to discontinue service between St. Joe and Topeka. They didn't succeed, but they did shake up the people of Horton. You see, we had been watching the life slowly drain out of the shops. But to discontinue service had the end come. 1 year later, 1938, only 40 men were working. From 700 men in its heyday, only 40 were left. And the company was slowly moving machinery out, which was a bad sign. 1939, July the 3rd, the day the last train ran. It was a gas-electric rail car. A few weeks later, they started tearing up tracks. Horton fought bitterly to keep the railroad. The fight was led by the headline, and before long was joined by our Kansas governor and virtually every department of our state government. Our senators in Washington even joined in the battle. But the Rock Island steadfastly pled economic reasons for discontinuing the line, and they were indeed hard pressed. When World War II began with Hitler's blitzkrieg, May the 10th, 1940, Horton and government officials and railroad officials tried to discover a way to utilize the plant facilities. There was talk of turning them into a munitions factory. About the middle of November of 1942, they started to tear down the shops. And then about the middle of the war, the buildings that remained were turned into warehouses, where surplus foods were stored before being shipped to other parts of the world. Well, I guess we could always say food was far more important to mankind than munitions. And then in early July 1946, it happened. It was like waiting for the other shoe to drop. The Rock Island sold the buildings, the tracks, and 38 acres of land to a steel fabricating plant based in Leavenworth. I don't think many of us realized that the railroad had owned 38 acres right outside our city limits. And so, Horton's 60-year partnership with the Rock Island Railroad came to a close.
Having the Rock Island sell out rock, stock, and barrel was hard to take, even though some freight trains continued to run. Hello, I'm Henry Levy. You remember when the dam broke back in 1925? Well, I was the one who discovered it at 4 a.m. Now, don't ask me what I was doing out at the lake at 4 a.m. and on a rainy night. But before that, I was elected mayor of the city of Horton in
1949. 1949 was a busy year. The liquor became legal in Kansas. Horton voted bonds for the new armory building. And Savannah got some producing oil wells. Then something brand new and important, concert series of 5 world-class musicians. Ethelene Falk was the promoter of that. Then in 1950, a war started. They called it a police action, but it was a real war. You get to recognize them. It was the Korean War, started in June 1950. Orville Aspen was elected mayor in 1952. He beat me by 8 votes, but he didn't get that war stopped until in July 1953. The United States lost 25,604 men. In our local area here, we lost 6. There was William Finner of Hiawatha, Norbert Willis of Horton, Robert Willis, Daniel Athena of Everest, Robert Lana of Horton, he was born in Horton, Philip Leach of Effingham, and Captain Matt Reed of Savannah. Let's observe a moment's silence in their honor. Thank you. And now, 2 of my friends.
Hello, I'm Van Norris.
And I'm Joe Hamill. We accomplished a lot of things in the 50s and 60s. For instance, we voted bonds for a new sewage disposal plant.
Joe, has anyone mentioned the fact that Horton has its own airport?
Well, I don't know, Van. We have an airport.
Well, what about our renewal homes?
Good point. Our renewal homes opened May the 25th, 1969. Housing for Horton seniors. And it was the work of the Horton Housing Authority.
Who are they?
They were a group of Horton leaders. Chairman Ernest Trumpeter, Vice Chairman Charles Harvey Brown Jr., and members Veronica Boozer, Orrin McNary, and Jean Hamill. Mrs. Henry Wilson was the first executive director. She did a great job.
You know, Horton has always had some great men and women who've done fine things for the community, and are still work.
Every community has its leaders. You must have to survive. Look at our neighboring towns. When one of our neighbors launches a special project, they benefit, of course, and we share in that benefit. When we do something, they share in our benefit. We're all part of that wonderful organization called the Society for Mutual Survival.
Hey, what's going on here?
Claytonville, a small village north of us, had the first Brown County courthouse.
Hiawatha was incorporated in 1857. They bought Claytonville for the county seat of Brown County and won.
The Muskogee Company flag was filed June 5th, 1850.
Kansas. In 1866, two cows sprung up on its right-of-way, Whiting and Netawaka. In 1882, Wetmore arrived.
Whiting and Netawaka were then in Brown County, but in 1868, the county line was straightened and they both landed in Jackson County. The plan of Kitticut was filed April 6, 1859. Kitticut was named in honor of Keannacut, the province, a distinguished Kickapoo chieftain. Kitticut probably has the richest history of us all. The Methodist Church was established in the Powhatan area in 1874, and the town came into being in 1886. Fairview also started in 1886.
Happy Centennial, Powhatan and Fairview!
The Catholic Church was started in Revere in 1883, but the settlers from Germany arrived in 1869. Known as Germantown, they changed their name during World War I to Revere, after Cardinal Mercier of Belgium.
Baker was on the Missouri Pacific Line and began in 1882. That same year, they built a Christian church and grain elevator. Everest began selling lots June the 2nd, 1882, and on June the 3rd, 1882, the first excursion train traveled from Atchison to Wall City.
Willis was also started in 1882 because of the Missouri Pacific Railroad. The first church was Presbyterian, started in 1883.
Hey, wait a minute. The Presbyterian mission was started on what is now Horton Heights in 1856. Now, does that make us older than the rest?
No! We salute. We salute. We salute our warm-hearted neighbors. Effingham, Minnesota, Westmore, Whiting, Netawaka, and Samantha, Hiawatha, Baker, Bolton, Everest, Millis, Reserve, and Laurel, and Hamlin. Kennicott, Highland, Powhatan, Robinson, and Fairview. Lancaster, Huron, Barrington, Atchison, Purcell, Denley, Elma, and Leanna, Boynton, and Revere, Troy, and Blair, Edina, Wadena, Galena, St. Hello. And don't forget. We salute, we salute, we salute our beautiful friends.
Hello, I'm Horton's Postmaster David Bradshaw. I was appointed in September of 1973, about 6 months after our combat forces were withdrawn from Vietnam. The Vietnam War was the longest in history and the most expensive. 6 of the American men who lost their lives were from this area, all of them killed in action. Bill Dennis, Horton, died 1967. Edward Roy Luker, Fairview, 1967. Walter Armstrong, Willis, 1968. James Clarence Truby, Powhatan, 1969. Dennis Allen Denton, Holton, 1969. And Danny Peterson, Horton, 1970. It would be fitting to observe a moment's silence in their honor. Thank you. Would Joe Hamill and Van North please come on stage, please? Hi, Van. Hi, Joe. You were saying something about people who have done things for the community.
Well, that was you, Van. You were saying something to that effect.
I was referring to people like Ollie Krebs, Irene Smith. Joe, they come on stage, please. Centennial Production Committee, where all this came from. Chairman of the Centennial Steering Committee, and her co-chairman, Ira McMillan, they're responsible for the entire week-long Centennial celebration. And now we wish you all a
happy birthday to a wonderful town. We grew right up out of prairie soil. It took a lot of sweat, a lot of honest toil. So a happy birthday to a hip array of the town. Bricks and stones and lumber by the mile gave our city lots of smiles. So here's a happy birthday to Horton, our dear old town. 100 years ago, Horton began its life. We had a lot of frolicking fun. We seen a lot of strife. But times of mirth and times of woe, lighten our common bond. We love each friend, we love each foe. Let Horton we hold most dear, most loved. To Horton we pledge our faithful bond. Happy birthday to a tippity town. It held its own for 100 years. Through thick and thin, through laughter and tears. Oh, Horton, our wonderful town. Horton, our beautiful town. Just one more thing and it's really true. Horton, our Horton. Yes, Horton, we love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are three men that we need to recognize for their outstanding contributions to this production. Wiley Harper, Carl Johnson, and Nick Lyman, please come up on stage, please. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here to do a show like this for you people who like it. That makes it worth all the work that has been. I would like to thank also members of the committees, particularly Jean Hamill, who worked on all the costumes, and her assistants. There she is, Jean Hamill. Susie Angle and Esther Smith. Carter, our stage manager. Mark Benito and the two guys on the follow spots. The entire crew, all of the Centennial Committee that's been done so much, and Ollie Krebs has done so much for all of us. Thank you very much.